Welcome to The Center, a show centered around women and girls who have experienced domestic abuse and trauma. The show provides tools and resources to help women and girls reach their highest potential. I am Veronique George, the host of The Center, and I am joined by our co-host, Shayla Hernan Edmonds. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Welcome, everyone.
Today we have the honor of having Akua Noni Parker on the show today. A North Carolina native, Akua Noni Parker began her professional dance training at the Academy of Dance in Wilmington, Delaware. After graduating from high school, she joined the Dance Theater of Harlem and went on to land major roles at the Cincinnati Ballet and the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, among others. She also had the opportunity and privilege to be coached and hired by Miss Judith Jameson at Ailey. Akua, it is an honor to have you on the show today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me, Veronique.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so let's hop right in. Akua, you've had a pretty incredible career, dance career. So tell us, when did you know that you wanted to become a dancer?
Well, as the story has it, my father says that I was dancing from the moment I could walk. So they put me in dance when I was around 3 years old, and for the most part, I've been dancing ever since.
Wow. That's pretty impressive that you started off dancing and it wasn't really a choice. It was just who you were. Beautiful.
Definitely, my story is I was supposed to be dancing.
Love it.
Love that.
Love it.
Love that. So along your journey, you've had a very successful career as a dancer, professor, a coach, and teacher yourself. Have you faced any obstacles as the only professional Black dancer in the room? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Well, I do think that as the only Black person in the room, regardless of the profession, right, you will face obstacles. I don't know if they are necessarily overcome. You just sort of push through. I think, some of that has to do with internal conversations, what we now, or I should say now know as, have certain labels like microaggressions or, things that you just don't really always know are flat out racist. So I've always questioned myself, knowing maybe I was the stronger dancer in the room, but not getting cast for a specific role or any role at all. I just always really just had a strong support system with my family and my sisters also in the corporate world. So we've always had conversations about that. I have a lot of friends that I can just lean on and, just pick back up and go back to work the next day, really.
Awesome. I
That
love that.
definitely resonates, Akua. Thank you.
Yes, it does.
So, what would you say to other girls, or specifically to girls who are following in your footsteps, coming up behind you, girls who look like you? What would you say to them in terms of how they might navigate the same challenges, or what would you have wanted someone to tell you or share with you when you were a young girl navigating spaces where you're the only?
I guess I'll start with a little story. So, I did stop dancing in high school for about 2 years. And I say that anyone that's not a dancer, and don't take this personally, but I call everyone that's a non-dancer normal people, right? Um, so I wanted to be a normal person, right? I wanted to do whatever I thought I was missing out on when I would go to ballet class after school. And so I stopped dancing for about 2 years. And then um, the strong support system I had between my ballet teachers and my family, there was a performance recorded and it was sent to Dance Theater of Harlem. And basically, Arthur Mitchell had remembered me from a previous summer program and accepted me into the second company off of that video. So that just goes to show for me that I was supposed to dance. But what I really recognize and realize is that I I was always supposed to be different. I was not supposed to be a normal person, right? And even people who I'm labeling now as normal people are all different. And so we have to try and celebrate those differences, regardless of what they are. Um, and sort of a little bit um, as the only like black dancer in the room, they were already going to look at me because I was the black dancer. So I was sort of determined to be so good and so strong that they couldn't look away. So, I guess, yeah, I don't really have much more to elaborate on that. I think that's the full kind of answer.
But I love that in that I hear, trusting that you're trusting what you're here to do and not shrinking just because people don't want to see you,
Yeah,
showing up. I love it. Thank you.
love that. Thank you, Akua. Forbes recently shared that getting enough sleep, rising early, meditating daily, and working out are among habits that can lead to greater productivity. What daily habits do you cultivate to show up as your best self?
Again, a part of it was my daily routine. I was a class taker. So no matter what I did, the night before or what happened, I was always going to wake up and take ballet class. For me, that was a way to hone my strength, my practice, and also just become stronger, work on different things. Maybe it was just that I didn't sleep well and I didn't feel that good, but it was a way for me to just go in and focus on my career and be strong. So even on my off time, I would go and take ballet class. But now that I have so much more time on my hands, I'm not performing. The schedule has shifted a little bit, but I still try to get to bed early. I have like wonderfully 8 hours of sleep now a night, which didn't really happen when I was touring between the hours of, the curtain coming down at 10 o'clock and just trying to even slow down, right? Like you're so excited from the curtain coming down. So by the time I would actually get to sleep, sometimes it would be 1 a.m. and I would have to be in the theater, 12 hours later, probably by 1 p.m. Um, so now I really do have a regimen of going to bed. I'm trying to be in bed around 10:30, but I am early to rise, even though my class doesn't start until 10. I'm usually up around 7, and I just sort of mull around. I read the paper. If I need to have a moment of quiet, whether that's meditation or the snooze, don't judge.
No
No
judgment.
judgment, exactly.
I do that. But yeah, I think my self love really goes into how I feel maintaining my mental health and my well being as a retired person. Really shifting sort of what I see in the mirror has been a challenge for me. So that's more of my focus now.
Akua, you mentioned wellness, and we know that your wellness journey has led you to becoming a vegan and starting Ku's Kitchen. So, how did this come about, and how is taking care of our bodies an act or practice of self love?
Oh, it came about because I just wanted to do like a cleanse. I was just trying to do a cleanse. And when you tour with Alvin Ailey, they have these receptions where you're meeting people who just want to celebrate you, but it ends up being like a party after you've been dancing, in the theater for 10-hour days. And so at the end of the night, we would have these beautiful charcuterie boards and cheese and wine. And I was like, well, I haven't actually eaten any food, I mean, this is beautiful and I'm grateful, but I would love like a hearty meal. And so I slowed down on I really didn't eat a lot of meat like pork and beef, but I would eat a lot of cheese and have a lot of wine, and I would just needed a shift, And so I was like, we were actually on tour in Paris. Who wants to become plant-based in Paris? But that's what I did. Uh, and so I decided to just take it out for the tour. We were in Paris for 3 weeks. And so I was like, let's try it. And I did it, and I never felt better. And so I just stuck with it. It doesn't mean that I didn't, come off it or like have some times when I had something that I missed but now I just feel so much better about it. I just feel like as far as self-love right now with food education, the way we are being educated, I think I have more family members who are older than me who, have needed triple bypasses or have high blood pressure or high cholesterol and all of those things. And so I think it's about the willingness to make a shift and a change. And that in and of itself is a commitment to yourself for self-love, because it's not about a diet, it's about changing your whole lifestyle, right? So I just decided to go that way, and I don't like frown upon anyone who decides to eat meat. I do challenge the notion that you should look at how many vegetables you're actually eating to sort of counterbalance the animal fat, and through food education, you will definitely change your outlook on what you put in your body. I also think through that, like, it challenges when people see, oh, this is what she's done for herself. It just challenges them to treat you differently. And so in those ways, I feel like you already put a standard on that. And so not only is it self-love, but it also resonates other people, and they just see you in a different light.
I never thought about it that way. Thank you,
Yeah,
Akua.
that's nice. Thank you. So we've covered a lot of ground in our conversation, talked about a lot of topics that I know will be very helpful for our audience. It certainly has been helpful for me. Sure as Shayla as well. But if there is something that you would want our audience to take away from this conversation, what would it be?
I would say probably don't be afraid to be different. That's first and foremost. Being different is probably really cool. Who wants the same of everything all the time? I don't. It's like, how many times can you eat leftovers before you just want to put it in the freezer and have it a different time, right? Like, you can't have the same thing every day. But also a little bit about like perseverance, I guess. Um, I think it's actually easy to give up, or maybe the first time you sort of don't give up. And then the first time you quit, each time after that becomes a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And so I just think try to push through the hard stuff, and it just builds character, it builds strength, and through that it just, changes your perspective on a lot of things.
Thank
I like
you.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. It's been an honor to talk to you, Akua. Thank you so much for joining us on The Center today.
Thank you.